I decided to try new crafting skills which were introduced in Project Zomboid with Build 42. And somehow I decided to start with carving.
Why?
Yeah, I'm asking myself exactly the same question. But hey, I've gone through the entire experience, I've leveled up the skill all the way to level 9, and I'm happy to share both some tips and some observations on carving itself. So without further ado, let's jump into carving. Carving is a skill used by the player in order to craft basic wood and bone items using a knife as the primary tool. So translating that into actual things you can make in game, plenty of different stuff like, like weapon handles, some basic tools. You can make a wooden spade. If you're unable to find a shovel, you can craft like cutlery from either wood or bone, and you can also make a bone armor, which I'm not using armor at all, so I'm not sure how useful that is. But yeah, lots of different stuff. None of them really super necessary. And the biggest prize probably sits at level 9 of carving, where you can craft your very own baseball bat. Okay, so let's talk about leveling. Now, the primary resource you need to level up at the early stages of carving are pretty much tree branches. And I have tons of them because this is my farm and I tend to take care of it and remove any bushes or small trees which pop up here and there. So I've had tons and tons of tree branches. So I just picked wood and shovel and let it fly. And just a note before we proceed to leveling, I am leveling every single level with the skill book XP boost applied. Without it, it would be an even bigger pain. Same story with level 2, but instead of doing those shovels, we just pick the small handles. Easy peasy. And since I wanted to really see how feasible speed boosting this skill is, I spent the very next day reading a book and preparing for going to level 4. Now, the trick here is you can no longer carve without a surface, so I need to grab all those tree branches and go into my shed. The idea was to carve medium handles. Each individual medium handle would give me 32 experience points, so I would need roughly 10 to hit level 3, which is not a lot actually. Now with boosting to level 4, I actually found great use for the previously crafted small handles. Reason being, you can take the small handle and you can recraft it into a smoking pipe. Really useful use of your leftover materials, because let's be honest, you're not going to use 70 small handles. I mean, unless you wanna like equip an army, there is no point in keeping all of those. So that's it, that was level 4, and I must say so far so good. Now once you hit level 4, you start to open up some really useful crafting items. I wanted to be a bit more creative with going through the level 4 and 5. I played a little bit with crafting items from bones, like a fleshing tool, which is super useful for butchery. I've made a shovel. Actually, I had a few, but I decided to also make a wooden shovel and used, every supply that I still had to really see what kind of items I am able to craft. And again, talking about supplies, I had tons of tree branches, which really helped to boost me through these levels. But I also learned later on that using bones is really efficient. So, lesson for me, and if you really want to boost carving fast, whenever you either butcher an animal and have some spare bones, or you forage and you find bones, my honest suggestion is to collect all of them, because they will become super useful later on. And this got me all the way to level 6, and honestly, now looking at this entire experience retrospectively, I would probably stop there. As nothing beyond level 6 in carving is useful for now, but I pushed through all the way to level 9 because I wanted to craft my very own baseball bat. Now, going to level 7, what I found most efficient was actually crafting something which is called bone whistle. you do require a recipe for that, so not gonna lie, I cheated. I used debug mode to generate the magazine that gives this recipe, but I wanted to see how efficient the leveling is. In order to carve the bone whistle, first you need to have bone pieces. Bone pieces can be acquired by smashing bones into pieces. Now, a single whistle gives you 234 experience points if you have the boost applied, and since you need 4,500 experience points to hit level 7, you need to carve 20 whistles. Now, boosting to level 7, your go-to item is the whistle. Now, boosting to level 8, your absolute go-to item is a short bat, which you can carve using a tree branch, and I still had a few left, so let's do it. And since one short bat gives you 273 experience points and you need a total of 6,000 for level 8, you need 22 short bats to hit level 8. I was finally level 8 and I needed one more level to be able to craft that baseball bat, but even my stash of tree branches that I sourced for months was not enough to hit that, so first thing I needed to do was to source more materials. And finally, another 21 short bats later, I finally managed to hit level 9 and craft my very own baseball bat. So let's quickly recap. It took me a full week of in-game time to go from absolute level 0 all the way to level 9, and obviously I was using skill books and I've had lots of materials pre-prepared, which made this entire experience much less tedious than it would normally be. But yeah, if someone would ask me, was it worth it? The only thing that comes to my mind now is pretty much this scene.
Did you do it?
Yes.
What did it cost?
Everything.
Thanks for staying till the end of the video, guys. I'm not gonna lie, going through carving was pretty boring, so if you appreciate my work, let me know by leaving a comment or dropping a like on the video. Next up, we're gonna cover masonry, but for now, I'm Gertrix. Cheers, guys.